Rotary. So today is April 28th, 2021, and our speaker today is Sondra Langley of the John A. Logan Literacy Program.
Hi.
I want to thank Gail for being our greeter today and thank everyone else for taking time out of your busy rainy Wednesday to spend time with your Rotary family. Sharon Harris Johnson, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I believe she's muted.
Oh, okay. I'm having a lot of trouble here, of course. I'm going to try again. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Sharon. Our moment of reflection today is also offered by Sharon. Sharon Harris Johnson.
Thank you. Yes, spring will come and so will happiness. Hold on, life will get warmer. And I thought with all this spring, then winter, and spring, then winter, we needed to hear that. It's coming and it's going to be such a good time for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Today's song time is, due to the weather, we're going to go with an old classic here, Singing in the Rain.
Singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above. And the sun's in my heart and I'm ready for love. Let the stormy clouds chase everyone from the place. Come on with the rain, I've a smile on my face. I walk down the lane with a happy refrain, just singing, singing in the rain. Dancing in the rain.
All right. Before we get into refrains and et ceteras, we'll go back to our regularly scheduled program here, but figured that was fitting due to the weather today and tomorrow and maybe the next day from what I hear. But, Shane Hermits, would you please introduce our guests?
Yes, we have one guest with us today. I'll let William Higgs is with us today. Would you like to unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is William Higgs, and I work with a nonprofit called Elevate. And I'm just happy to be here and kind of introduce myself to everybody.
Well, welcome. And I'll let Rick introduce our guest speaker when it comes to that point of our program.
Thank you. All right. Some club announcements. First is we're going to mention it here, May 1st. This Saturday is our centennial celebration, May 1st at 4 p.m. The link here, carbondalepubliclibrary.org/register/Rotary at Carbondale. We will email this out to everybody again. but that is this Saturday. And then we are 72 projects in for our 100 Little Things. So great job, everybody, for 100 Little Things. And we'll continue that and we'll celebrate some of those this weekend. It's that important. We are 100 years old. And I wanted to put it on another slide, emphasizing it here, Saturday, May 1st. So 4 p.m., please mark your calendars if you haven't already. We'll send out a separate invitation. Registration is required. It is a free event, but registration is required for this. So please click this link, and I will share it here shortly in the chat window. Our lunch sponsorship project, we are continuing to support Heartland Catering and the Warming Center through this project. So through your dues on your monthly invoices, please make sure you're continuing to support that. I don't have a menu for today on that. The Adopt a Spot cleanup, May 8th at 9 a.m. at the Super Block. So last time we did this back, I think this was last spring actually, was the last time we were able to get out there and do this. We'll meet and we'll walk up and down the block there. We had 6 or 8 bags of trash last time, and after being out at Evergreen Park this past weekend, there's a lot of litter that is being blown around here, especially as it gets warmer. People are outside more, and the more we can do to beautify our community, the better. So thank you all for doing that in the past, and hopefully we can continue that on. Our foundation donation challenge, a matching club donation up to $100, celebrating our 100th anniversary here. I want to thank Christine for that foundation donation in April, Shane in May, and all the way through Linda Meredith in October. So thank you all. If you'd like to continue that on, put your name on the list next, please let Shane or myself know and we'll add you to the list. Look in the chat box and in the weekly email for the club duties. Shane, could you post those again in the chat? I think if people joined after you posted it initially, they don't see it. So if we could post that again, that'd be great. And if you have not signed up for next week, please do so. It's great to have a full slate today of folks that are doing different duties. Our proposed members. So we had 3 proposed members for the Murfreesboro Satellite Club. I have not heard anything from anybody yet on those. So it looks like we're good to go with those 3 members, and the board will go through the rest of that process and we'll get those folks added into Murfreesboro. So thank you. Hybrid in-person and Zoom meetings will resume June 2nd. So we have a couple things to follow up on before we get to that point. But we are planning on using the next 6 weeks to develop that hybrid plan and test out the technology. I'll be honest, my focus has been on the, I'm sure Christine's has too, on the Centennial this weekend, making sure we have everything done for that. But then we are going to go back to in-person starting in June. So. District news, our satellite club update. There are 3 proposed members right now, and they have 10 members, so that puts them up to 13. Their district grant proposal for stuffed backpacks for grade schoolers. I don't see Brooke on the call today, but otherwise I'd pass it over to her for more information. But check them out on Facebook if you have additional members who you'd like to propose for that club, anybody who lives or works in the Murfreesboro area or could serve that community. Let us know and we'll get their names over there. So Rotary International news, May is Youth Service Month. April was Maternal and Child Health Month. So keep an eye out for the Rotary magazine and additional information that'll come via email. I love reading up on the things that Rotary is doing worldwide for that. Polio update this week. So last week, I don't know if you noticed the difference here. If you were paying attention last week, this list was about twice as long. So new wild polio virus updates. So a couple in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and then 1 each in Benin and Iran. Sierra Leone had 3, and Tajikistan had 2 positive samples. So the fight is on. Vaccines do work. I shared a little bit of information last week on the iron lung and what's going on with that. But I do believe that our efforts and the efforts of Rotary International and other organizations are going to eradicate polio completely. Rotary International has given $35 million in grant funding to provide medical equipment such as ventilators and PPE in response to coronavirus. But Rotary is not purchasing COVID-19 vaccines. We're working with nations to make sure that they've got what they need for their rollout. Now it's time for some of your good news. Who's got some good news to share today?
I'll go. So yesterday was my parents' wedding anniversary. They have been married 68 years yesterday. And tomorrow is my wife and I's anniversary. We'll be married 32. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have sort of good news in a way. Hearing Singing in the Rain brought back some interesting memories. It was one of the first movies that I took my girls on a date, which now happens to be my wife, back in about 1954, I think it was, or 55. So it brings back good memories.
Rick, I have some information from the warming center from Carmelita. She reported that they're doing well and that tomorrow the young mother and her 6-month-old child will be moving into their own place. They are an example of how to utilize the systems that are in place locally. She reported they've served over 40,000 meals and have served 369 individuals for over 10,000 nights of stay at the warming center. She also said they had a previous guest stop by last week who had stayed with them in the fall, and he wanted to let them know that he's back in Carbondale, but has just bought a home off of Giant City Road. She also says they're grateful for the relationship with Prairie Living on Chautauqua and their partnership in assisting to housing or homing some of the guests who are over 65, and they have 2 guests who are in process to live at Prairie Living. So great success stories from the warming center and their work.
Awesome. Thank you, Gail.
Rick,
Go ahead, Cindy.
I put this in the chat, but this is a big weekend coming up for us in that our youngest, Jacob, is graduating from Michigan State University, and we are really excited that we're getting to go to an in-person graduation ceremony for him. And he is still dating the same girl he dated in high school, Hannah Clarida, who's from here as well. And she's also graduating from Grand Valley in Michigan this weekend. And so we'll be celebrating with both of these young people who have done really well. And, you know, I've been hearing from some of Jacob's classmates that he graduated from Carbondale High School with, and, you know, who are now all graduating from college. And they're such a great bunch and really representing our area well all over the country.
Well, normally, I don't know if people would consider this good news, but I certainly did, because yesterday, for the first time in 16 months, I went to the dentist and had my teeth cleaned, and it felt really good to be out about doing something different and to, after 16 months, not have any dental issues. So that was fun.
Woohoo! I had a bit of a return to normalcy yesterday as well. Part of my job is to go into schools and talk with kids. I get to go classroom to classroom and talk to kids about Scouts, and it's just neat to see kids in that environment. And yesterday was the first time in over a year that we've been able to do anything remotely close to that. We were able to go into 3 schools yesterday, myself and a couple volunteers, and it was awesome to see the kids in the classrooms. And many of the teachers said this is the first time that the kids have seen somebody from outside their little bubble here in a classroom doing something. So I had my vaccination, I wore my mask, and we kept it pretty hands off. And but it was nice to get back to a sense of normalcy and see the smiles on kids' faces. As hard as it is to see a smile through a mask, you can see it in their eyes to see somebody excited about school and being in the classroom. So that was a lot of fun.
I've got some good news I'd like to share. I had the opportunity to share with the couple young scouts. I'm not sure what category they're in, but we went fishing and we pitched a tent this past Monday, and it was an experience for everyone, even the parents who were pitching the tent who had no experience doing it. And we had to get help baiting the hook to a fish, but it was a great experience, and we all had a fun time.
All right, so thank you all for sharing your good news. I'll go back over here. Sergeant at Arms, Gail White, the floor is yours.
I've been trying to follow the news papers this week, and I have not seen anybody's name mentioned unless I missed them. So I don't have any fines to levy, and everybody's on good behavior today, and I'm sure doing good work. So no fines today.
I'd like to pay a fine. I was too slow on the draw for the good news. I just talked to Jim Chapman this morning. We had about a 15-minute conversation. He said he's doing well. He's just finished some radiation treatment for his cancer. But he's talking about continuing his work at the Center for Empowerment. He's in very good spirits. He just wanted to tell people he missed Rotary. With his treatments, he said he just doesn't have any energy to be able to even tune into Rotary at this point in time. So I just wanted to share with you. And he dropped the little thing that I hear older people do, that he's 92 and he is still churning along at speeds that I find remarkable. So anyhow, that's just a little news from Jim Chapman.
Thank you, Gary.
We're always happy to receive fines from you too.
No.
All right. So now it is time for our guest speaker, and our guest speaker today is Sondra Langley of John A. Logan College Literacy Program. So,
Hi.
Sondra, welcome to our Rotary Club. We're very happy to have you, and the floor is yours.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be able to reach out to people in the community, and I actually live in Carbondale, so it's a really great experience to actually finally get to talk to other people that are around here. Christine is actually part of our program already, so she can, help add anything that I might miss or whatever. But I'm the literacy counselor at John A. Logan College. I just started here actually last August, so middle of the pandemic. And what we do is we help members in the community in Carbondale, Carterville, Marion, Murfreesboro, Heron, West Frankfort, kind of anyone in the area improve their literacy skills. This can include reading. We also do some math tutoring. We also work with the John A. Logan GED program to have tutors in those classrooms. And even with the pandemic, even with classes being online and hybrid, we are continuing to tutor through this time. But, as Christine knows, we are desperately still looking for tutors and to kind of get our name out there and get our program out there, looking for anyone who might be interested in volunteering, but also anyone who might know anyone that needs help improving their reading skills. And we work with learners that they are either ESL learners or even native speaking learners that just struggle with those day-to-day tasks, that they found ways to figure out how to get around it, but they struggle with reading their mail. I actually work with a couple of learners now that they have kids at Unity Point that they can't even read their mail, and they're wanting to help their kids learn to read, especially right now with school from home and working with their kids. So we are just trying to get our name out there, trying to get the program out there, and help anyone we possibly can while also looking for more tutors during this time, because we're slowly but surely getting back to normal. Our GED classes are meeting in person now, so we're wanting to get tutors in those classes to kind of help them out. So yeah, I don't know. Does anyone have any questions about the program?
So what is the age range of the people that you tutor?
They can range from 17 to, I think our oldest that we have is like 81. So really any adults. We tutor adults, strictly adults. For this, we are not able to tutor children. But there's no age limit as long as they qualify as an adult to who we can help and who we can serve.
What are the qualifications to be a tutor, and is all the tutoring done on the main Logan College campus at Carterville?
Tutoring, to be a tutor, you just have to be dedicated and have the time to tutor. Generally, we ask for 1 to 3 hours a week for tutoring. It's set by you. And we also generally ask for a commitment of 6 months, but also right now, that's negotiable, especially with, people are still doing online, people are still, getting vaccinated, things like that. And where the tutoring happens is actually set by the tutor and the learner. We have some people that they tutor in Marion. We have some people that they actually tutor at the Carbondale Library. So wherever you are and the learner is that's set by you. We also are still doing online tutoring. We're hoping to be able to keep the online tutoring after everything calms down with COVID, because it's such a great resource for so many of our learners is to be able to do online. So the location is, we're all across the area. And the process to volunteer online, I see both of the questions, is the same as it would be for in person. You just have to go through a 14-hour training. And the 14-hour training, we do it either in person or we also have online. And we actually just finished doing a YouTube series for training that I recorded, which was a fun experience to get through that. And basically, you don't need any background in education or tutoring because we teach you all of those skills. Excuse me. And the types of reading material is actually kind of set by the tutor, and depending on whether you're tutoring with GED students or not. But if there's ever any questions about materials and what to do, generally we go through the training, but also that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you prepare. And if there's ever any questions about what to go over, it's all set by the learner and the tutor. So a lot of it's very dynamic. It's addressing what the learner needs directly rather than just like a set, curriculum that we see in classrooms, because sometimes, we see learners and students get lost in that system and it's not addressing what they directly need. So that's what we do with tutoring. We try to address directly what they need, what are their goals and wants, and getting that for them with our tutors and the materials that we have. And we're actually in the process of expanding our list of materials. And we do actually have a lot of learners. Recently, we actually just got a whole bunch of learners that are English as a second language. So we work with a lot of native learners. We work with a lot of English as a second language learners. We actually just started hosting a class for ESL learners specifically. So that's kind of really exciting for us because we haven't had that class in like 7 years, I think I was told. And we're finally getting that class back up and running again. So it's very exciting for us to have that. And, we work with a variety of learners. We work with ESL learners, we work with native speaking learners. We also work with a lot of learners who have disabilities such as dyslexia that, they've gone through the system. They dropped out of school because they were written off as, they couldn't learn, they were unable to learn. But it was just that learning disability, and that's what we help them achieve their goals of, getting their GED, moving, getting further education and doing what we can to help them. So anything related to reading and literacy, and something with reading and literacy that I've kind of learned is use literacy skills in so much of our lives, like writing a check, reading a menu at a restaurant, going to the grocery store and reading price tags, reading the medication instructions on your pill bottle. And there's so many people that actually are unable to do that. And that's been kind of a shocking thing for me to learn. And as I've kind of stepped into this job, and we just want to help people, especially right now with COVID, what are the risks, how do you get vaccinated? What are things you can do? There are tons of people that they just can't even read that. There's also some people with ESL that they don't even understand what is being said because of how it's being said. And we're here to kind of not only help them improve themselves, but also be prepared and, reach their goals.
How do you identify individuals or a person who has trouble reading and that type of thing would probably not jump at your programs? I want to do this. What kind of outreach do you guys have available to let people know about your services?
So we actually, a lot of our outreach comes through people actually being interested in the program. We also get a lot of recommendations from different GED programs that they have learners that are trying to get their GED, but their reading is just too low to even partake in the class. We're also working with the Irma Hayes Center in Carbondale as they're reforming and, kind of reshaping that center to have part of that, I guess I would say part of our program there as well. So we're able to reach out to learners. But unfortunately, most of the learners that we get, they have to come to us. We put our name out there. We put that we provide the services. We have posters and we do things online. We have a Facebook, and I go around to Carbondale, Carterville, Marion, all of those places and post stuff where I can. We also did some flyers they passed out during some food drives, but we can't make them come to us. They have to at least take that first step toward improving themselves to come to us, because it's also one of those things that if we identify them and go, hey, you need help, that can come across kind of rude. But also whenever they start meeting with their tutor, they have to be responsible enough to meet that appointment every week. So it's definitely, there is some motivation on their end if they're interested to coming to us, sort of taking that first step. But we do what we can to let people know about our program, that it's a thing, that, our program's free. There's nothing that they have to pay for. Any of the materials that is needed, we provide. Yeah. So, yeah, to answer your question, Faith, if we had more volunteers, we could extend our outreach, because I'm the only person that works in the literacy department. There's me, and that's about it. Volunteers. So if we had more volunteers to just, help with outreach, that would be fantastic for me, because then we reach more people. Volunteers are recruited basically the same way that we, get learners. I do things like this. I talk to people that, might be able to know someone that's looking for volunteer opportunities. I rely on our tutors and our learners to reach out to people that, if they know someone that's wanting to help. I actually just started talking to SIU, and we have a program there to get some of their grad students into our tutoring program to help tutor our ESL learners. And there is no compensation, so we can't pay you, but you do get cool gifts in Tutor Appreciation Month that I actually have sitting in my office right now that are really very cute. And we also hold a Tutor Appreciation Luncheon in April and May this month to give people time with vaccination. So There's also, when you tutor, especially with this program that I've seen, you tend to get somewhat of a relationship with your learner, and there's something very satisfying personally about helping them, because we actually just had one of our learners graduate from the program, and she is now in St. Louis doing her own thing, and she was an ESL learner who barely spoke English, and now she's actually able to get a job. She's filling out her own paperwork for her citizenship and is able to take the citizenship test. And her learner and her tutor, I mean, still talk. They work together for years and they still talk. And it's just, there's something incredibly satisfying that, I mean, I haven't had the chance, but it's satisfying for me to see that relationship with our tutors and their learners and, you know, what they can accomplish. And there is a background check. So if you're interested in tutoring, you have to fill out a registration form that gives me all your information. And then there is a background check that we perform that's required by the college. But generally it's quick. Generally it, you know, as soon as you complete the training, we turn it in and then, you know, you're good to go. But the biggest part about becoming a tutor is just the training. And then, you know, from there it's me working with you. And like I said, everything is set by the tutors. They set when they want to tutor, they set where they want to tutor, and I do what I can to make that possible whenever I'm matching tutors with learners, because I'm the one that does that. So I take your preferences into account, I take what the learner's preferences into account, and I do the best I can to, you know, match people together that I think would work well together and improve those skills and give a good experience.
I have a question. It's related to this. And when you mentioned balancing checkbooks, are there any programs or is there any part of this program that deals with basic math skills?
We do actually do some basic math skills. So our cutoff for learners is below a 9th grade level. So if it's basic math skills, we generally can work with that. We generally have we can provide tutoring for that. Because it is technically part of literacy. Math is a part of literacy, you know, balancing your checkbook, being able to add, you know, how are you going to pay for your groceries at the grocery store? How are you going to pay for the necessities that you need in general? Also, as we see with some of our GED programs, you know, how do you solve a basic math question, right? You have those word problems that some of them are, who knows what they're asking. They're how many pancakes and apples and whatever. And some people get lost when they're trying to read those. So we do work with basic math. Whenever we start getting into like algebra, we go through, I think, pre-algebra is where we cut off. But basic math, yeah, we provide tutoring for that. And, you know, we're always looking for tutors that are good in math too, because that seems to be something that no one wants to tutor in for some reason. But
Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
Sondra, how many tutors do you have currently and how many people are you tutoring?
Currently, we have 40 total tutors. Active, we have about 33. Learners total, we're at 120 learners. That includes learners that qualify that are in our GED classes that also receive tutoring, and learners that are in the community. Yeah. So there's a lot of people. And I also have, I think, about 10 learners that are currently waiting to be matched too. So there's, you know, we serve a lot of people. And whenever we actually, because we do help with the GED classes, those numbers can actually go up whenever our GED classes are fuller, because we have one tutor in those classes and they help out there as well, because we do have learners that are below that 9th grade level trying to get their GED, and so we help them as well. So we can get up to, I think the most that I've seen in the past was like 400, but with COVID right now, all of our classes are smaller. So, but we still have, 120 learners that are receiving tutoring. Any other questions? I like talking about questions. Well, if there's nothing else, thank you all for listening to me. And yeah, I think whenever I last looked at the statistics that about 50% of, I think it was like 50% lacked basic literacy skills within like a 2 million person area. So, and that number actually increases to like 70% if they are ESL learners. So, and that's just basic literacy skills. And something I've seen a lot of is that there's quite a few learners that you would have no clue that they don't even have basic literacy skills because they've been forced to figure out different tips and tricks and ways to get around it. I have one of my learners that it's an older man. He's had a job for his entire life. He has a second grade reading level, but you would not know whenever you talk to him. And if you look at his job, because he has a high standing job in construction, but he's just found ways to get around it, to avoid reading. And so it's kind of impressive in that way, but it's also like how, this long you've been out of the system, but he's wanting to get his GED. He's wanting to, be able to move up in his career, but he can't without the GED. So it's, it's sad, but it's also amazing what our learners, have learned to do, have figured out how to do to get by, and, that they're wanting to get help and improve themselves. And it's, it's crazy the things that they come up with. So it's kind of, it's fun to talk to them, to hear what they've done. And, you learn things as well, about your community, about things going on, and different, tricks you can adapt for yourselves, even though you're helping them get along. But I just want to say thank you again for having me here today. Just any chance we can talk about our program is great, and just get the word out. And, if you know anyone who's interested in tutoring,
Thank you so much, Sondra. I interact with a lot of parents around Carbondale and the whole region, actually. And I see a lot of it, and I appreciate the hard work you guys are doing.
we're doing what we can, especially right now with everything, we're still trying to keep going and doing, like I said, doing what we can to keep serving the community, and anything else that we can do more is what we're looking for. So
awesome. Thank you once again, Sondra.
Thank you.
So moving on to what's happening next week, we've got our May slate put together. Stephanie with Green Earth Inc. will be on the 5th. We've got some last names that I'm not even going to try to pronounce today. So Amy is a social worker at CCHS with the Lifesavers program. The 19th, we'll have Linda Baker of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute discussing redistricting. That should be a really interesting one. And then on the 26th, we've got Jane with Sierra Club joining us. So that's our schedule for the next couple weeks. Hope to see everybody at each one of these meetings. Now it's time for the 4-way test. Linda Meredith, would you please lead us in the 4-way test?
Yes, please join me in the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill
and better friendships?
And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Well, thank you all once again for joining us today. And we hope to see you all again next week. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Have a good one.